My name is Hafiz. So I'm the BIM manager for the Bina initiative and also Autodesk certified instructor for the Revit, Autodesk Revit and work. Okay, so we will proceed for the BIM. For the what is the BIM, BIM. Okay, so most of the what we call it person that I met before that's they what we call it. They thought that BIM is a Revit lah. Okay, Revit. Yeah, Revit is one of the tool in the BIM basically. So for the BIM itself is the process. Okay, so the process. So for the process here from the for the process is about the data management. So management of the digital data object represent the project component during design, construction, operation, and also maintenance. So basically, inside in the 3D model, they have what we call it the geometric data of the 3D model and also the information. So as to simplify, it's about the model object, the physical function information, the process. So there's a BIM. Okay, so basically it's a 3D data, 3D model, 3D model, but it's not limited to 3D model, but they also have the information that require to incorporate in the model. Okay, so for the BIM model, so they have what we call it 3D, 4D, 5D, and also 6D. Okay, so the 3D is normally is the design part. So the design part, so it's a planning, conceptual, AEC, architecture, engineering and construction, and then structure and the MEP evaluation. So here is the 3D. So 4D is the collaboration between the schedule and also the project facing. So here is the what we call it. You can see that the schedule normally in the project planner, as a project planner. So the BIM team we working with the project planner to incorporate this one. So 5D is the estimation and planning. So basically from here we can estimate the cost, we can quantity take out, then also we also incorporate with the planning. And here is the sustainability, which means the building life cycle for the facilities management and everything. So this one I will explain furthermore on the next slide. Okay, so basically in the BIM, they have 5 components. Okay, normally it's a 4 component. People, technologies, process, and the policies. But I would like to add another one is about the information. Okay, so the building itself the 5 components. So information, people, technologies, process, and also policies. Okay, so for the information, basically they have 2 types of information, graphical, non-graphical. So graphical is a 3D model. Non-graphical is like the paperwork, papers, drawing, print, image, video, catalog, everything. So that one is a non-graphical. So basically, this document can be incorporated in the 3D model. Okay. So the next one is about the people. So people is abilities of the people to perform at every step of the implementation process, and then the people also have the right amount of training, support, opportunities. The people in the BIM team is the key for the long-term success of the BIM implementation program. So most often, I think nowadays, since COVID on the past 2 years, the government, I think not the government also, I think the private sector also have a lot of the initiative about the digital, especially on the BIM. I can see that a lot of people have gone through the training for the BIM through the CIDB, My BIM Center, and then with a few the other training center that provide by the private sector lah. So I can see that most of the people right now have the what we call it certificate of the operating the tools. Okay, it depends. Like Bina initiative itself, we are Autodesk training center, authorized one. So we focus on the training on the Autodesk product such as Revit, Civil 3D, AutoCAD, Navisworks. So we have a 2 chapter. One is the introduction, one is the advanced lah. So from this training also is basically helping the resource to grow and then as the to grow, and also what we call it to successful to deliver their task in the BIM one. Okay. So the next one is the technology. So technology basically choosing the right set of tool, element of hardware, software, CDE, storage, everything. So technology is depend. Okay. Like in Malaysia, most of the technology are using like Bentley and Autodesk. Okay. So I think ArchiCAD, some of the firm are using it, ArchiCAD, CosX, everything. Then I think in Singapore, I think Singapore have been open, so which means that they are a BIM laboratory, so they are open to any tool or software to collaboration. But I think for most of our project is we suggesting that everyone is using the Autodesk lah. If one person is using the Autodesk, so everyone using Autodesk. The reason why, because we want to what we call it, the maturity of uh, BIM using the different technology in Malaysia still what we call it low lah, or better. Okay, so the process. So the process also, the next one is the process. Process also very important because the process here, the need for increased collaboration among project partners demand fundamental changes in the way knowledge is shared, communicate, deliver, and manage. So it's important that every stakeholders in the project, okay, that involved in the BIM project lah. So they know that how to share, how to communicate, how to deliver, and how to manage the BIM model. Okay, so without this process, so everything is chaos. So some of them will say that if this one is not my scope, so this one is not my scope, so this one is not my scope. So without the strict process, we can call it as the shock sendiri, the shock sendiri implementation. Okay, so we have the project that during the design stage, implementing a full BIM. So which means the architects, the CNS, the M&E, the QS also, what we call it, on board with us to what we call it, uh, creating everything by using the BIM model. Okay, so and then they also issuing the what we call it, the tender drawing, extract from the coordinator model. It's good, but unfortunately when it goes to the construction stage, but the contractor are with it, the BIM, so they go for the conventional one due to what we call it, the non the client or the owner is not strict on the what we call it, the BIM implementation in for the construction stage. So that's the what we call it, the waste stage basically. Okay. And then the next one is the policy lah. So policy is the BIM standard. So without the clearly defined standard and technology spec, the information technology cannot be applied effectively. It is a belief that well-defined policies should form the basis of the model development and exchange. So the spec must be integrated into the project guidelines and contracts from the earliest planning stage onward. So I think this one, the revolution of the policy in Malaysia is that, like right now, if the JKR, they have their own BIM policy. So they have a JKR BIM standard, we have one BIM. And then now we have what we call it from the PAS 4192. Right now we have the ISO 19650. So it's quite comprehensive, the what we call it, the difference between the PAS and the ISO. And then I can see also right now also the policy maker like the BSI also have what we call it, offering the intensive training and also the certification to the any entities or organization that would like to be certified as the BIM practitioner in Malaysia. Then also uh, the beauty about the ISO 19650 also, they have include about the clause of the contracts. So the clause of contract is the what we call it, is really helping, it really help to implement, basically to force the stakeholder to what we call it on board on the BIM implementation project is by using the contracts or the clause. I think that's the only way to make sure that they are deliver everything. If not, for example, like in the construction part, the contractor, they will take the shortcut. So they will produce everything, the shop drawing, construction drawing using the 2D CAD. Then after that, once their project almost done, then after that they will take the third party BIM consultant, then they update the model as built. So I think that one is a defeat the purpose lah. Basically defeat the purpose, because as we know that every stage of uh, every phase of the project have their own challenge. So for example, design stage have their own clashes, own issues, own challenge. Construction stage also have their own clashes, own challenge, own issues, something like that. So if that thing is not fully utilized, so basically it will create a lot of wastage on the construction part. Okay. So here is the implementation. So as you can see, that implementation is starting from the conceptual. So conceptual, prelim, design development, conceptual phase, completion phase, and operational phase. Okay. So the conceptual, normally this one is the massing lah. The massing one, feasibility, GFA, high level costing, to design development. So development, this one is normally what we call it, to finalize the design, detail design, submission to authority, everything lah. Tendering, so construction phase, so the project management, documentation, completion, as built, the document handover, and then the operational facilities lah. So this one is 3D, 4D, 5D, and 6D. Okay. Okay, then if you notice that in BIM, they have what call it as the LOD, LOD 100, 200, 300, 400, and the 500. So this one we call it as the level of development. So I love to tie back each LOD with the drawings, because nowadays in Malaysia, I think is very low percentage that some of the project starting by using BIM, except is the big player, the big boys like the Gamudas. Gamudas, most of the project, I think even the consultant stage, the architects, CNS, M&A, all this start build their 3D model. Then after that, I think some Dabi also. Even some Dabi, I heard that the consultant would like to bid their project. The Dabi BIM team will interview that consultant punya what we call it BIM capability or what. Okay. So basically for the LOD 100 here, we tie back normally for the KM submission. So this one we reference by using the KM drawings. So LOD 200 is normally by prelim design drawing. LOD 300 is the detail design drawing. So detail design drawing, tender drawing. So addendum, this one we will incorporate in the LOD 300. So LOD 400 is the construction shop drawing. Okay, so basically normally in the between here, we call it have the LOD 350. So why we call it LOD 350? Because LOD 350 is based on the construction drawing. The construction drawing normally is prepared, provided by the consultant. So we develop the 350. Then after that, we incorporate with the specialist, specialist drawing, LOD 400 based on the shop drawing. Then from here, we move to the SBIT 400. So 400 is always go for SBIT. But some of the project, they're using definition that LOD 400 is the SBIT. Some of the project, it depend on the requirement. But I find that if a few developer, they have using this clause that the LOD 400 is the SBIT. So they will provide us the LOD 300, so which means the consultant team will credit. So we update to LOD 350, incorporate with all the shop drawing from the trade contractor, and then finalize it in the LOD 400. So it depends on the requirement. Okay, so what you can benefit from this LOD? Okay, here. So LOD 100, so basically what the capability is, number one is for the site level coordination. LOD 200, so major large object coordination. So basically can using the 4 phasing only, this one time scale. So for the cost estimation is assumptions, so it's the high level. So this one is based on the generic element. So we cannot perform any analysis or simulation. Okay, so here is a sample of the 100 and 200, as you can see. And then here is the LOD 300. LOD 300, I will say is more on the detail design. So it's allow production of the tender drawing, schedule, and also documentation. Okay. So it's allow also precise analysis and simulation. So it's object coordination, time scale, order appointment of data assemblies can be what we call it, the quantity have been can be take off and also have the estimate cost lah. And then can do for the analysis. So for example, like the energy analysis, lighting analysis, and then I think right now the Autodesk have the what we call it, the product for the green building ratio analysis also. So we can using this LOD 300 for that for do the analysis lah. Yeah. Okay, for the 400, so 400 and the S-build, so basically it's a coordination. So basically it's fabrication and detail design construction. So basically, normally in the 4D, they want to see about the simulation of crane, main lift, shoring, and also they want to see that for the props, everything lah. So basically, committed purchase price of specific assemble or buyout, and then precise simulation based on the specific manufacturer and detailed system components. Okay, so the difference is because here the analysis, basically for example the energy analysis, the energy usage is still generic because in this stage sometimes the model or the capacity might be is confirmed lah, but the model or the brand for the item might be still ongoing lah, still not confirmed yet. Then here normally in the LOD 400, normally they already have confirmed what is the brand, what is the, what we call it, the manufacturer, everything. So basically you can put the, what we call it, the precise simulation on here, okay? So this one, LOD 400, the S-build. So it's record all the data and commissioning and recording all the major performance. Okay. All right. So later on, after my presentation, I will open for the Q&A. So any Q&A, you can put in the chat box. Okay. All right. So this here is what I call it as the BIM policy lah, BIM management, BIM standard. So the BIM standard are very important. Okay. So the definition is the digital representation of physical and functional characteristics of the facilities. So as I mentioned earlier, in Malaysia, sometimes we rojak. Sometimes some project they are directly using ISO 18650 or PAS 1192, but some project are rojak. So rojak, which means that they're using the JKR with standard or they're using the BCA Singapore one with the ISO something like that. Okay, so that's the what we call it, the the type of BIM standard that normally using in Malaysia. Okay. Okay, so this one is the what we call it BIM maturity roadmap. Okay, we have the level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3 lah. So I believe right now Malaysia have now at the level 2 here. So level 2. And we are towards to the level 3. We are towards to level 3 because currently to have this collaboration from the level 2 to level 3, we should have what we call it is a CDE. CDE is the Common Data Environment. Common Data Environment ni, they have a lot of product in Malaysia. Basically, they have a Procore, they have the Autodesk, they have the Econex. Basically, they have a project-wise, they have it. So a lot of the CDE, Common Data Environment. So to achieve level 2 and level 3, the collaboration must be in the Common Data Environment. And the Common Data Environment can be accessed through the cloud, through the internet. Okay, the reason why, because they want to reduce the paper usage during the construction stage. Okay, so basically Malaysia at the BIM level 2 right now, I think a few entity or organization have been certified as the BIM level 2. Okay, which means that in the level 0 we start with a low collaboration. So BIM level 0, which means you're working separately lah. So architect, you're working like your part, CNS, you're working your part, M&A, you're working your part. Then after that, you complete everything, you submit to your client, we campur everything lah. So that's the level 0 lah. So level 1 is the partial collaboration. So basically this one is more on the Normally, like the architects, you will share drawing to the CNS, then after that, architects, CNS, we share drawing to the M&E, then M&E then have the issue, then we shoot back to the architect or CNS, something like that. So this one is level one. So level two is that project team are using the 3D model. So they're using 3D model. And then the 3D model are shared by using common file. Okay. If everyone is using Autodesk, so the Autodesk lah, if using Revit, RBT, something like that. So if not, they will go for the IFC lah. IFC is the what we call it, the international upper classification. And then the 4D and the 5D also are viable in the level 2. And then for the level 3 is that open beam. So open beam also, which means that like the architect is using the ArchiCAD, the CNS using the Revit, so M&A using the software, then each of you will export your file to .ifc, and then they will integrate in the common data environment in the CDE. Okay, so currently right now most of the CDE like the Autodesk ACC, Autodesk Cloud or something like that, collaboration, ACC. So they have this function, basically, they have a unified. So they can read any format of the model, they can integrate through the cloud, and then they also can be unified as a 3D model. Okay. So I think most of now Malaysia is here in the level 2, the full collaboration. Okay, so this one is the standard of the deliverable. So how the BIM process we taking part. Okay, number one is here lah. So this one, I will give sample that the project are using the Revit after this one. So this one, we will create the template preparation. So which means the grid line, the level, share reference points, standard families. So we need to incorporate. So who the one who prepare this one? BIM coordinator lah. The BIM coordinator will prepare this one. They will prepare the template. So once the template is created, so they will distribute to the modeler. So modeler for architecture, modeler for structure, modeler for the MEP, for the civil. Okay, so basically in the BIM, we separating. So architecture is one team, structure is one team, civil is one team, the MEP is one team. Okay, so once the creation is complete, so this one, the BIM coordinator will combine by using the Navis work. Then doing the QC also lah. If they're okay, they will back. So this one is the crash analysis, then virtual design review. Okay, so in the BIM workshop, if the JKR, we call it as the Bengkel BIM. Like in my project, in the line 2 before this, they're using as the VDR, virtual design review, or virtual construction review, or something like that. So if the model is not approved internally, so basically we need to back to amend. So if model is approved, so the next stage is be model approved and proceed for the deliverable. So what is the deliverable? Is number one is 3D. 3D model, visual rendering, extracting 2D from the 3D. 4D, project facing, construction process scheduling. 5D, quantity extraction, real-time cost monitoring, and initial operation cost analysis. 6D, sustainability, regenerative, LED, and then FM, 7D. Okay, so here is what we call it, the BIM deliverable. Okay, so the next one is about the BIM adoption. BIM adoption, the value lah. What's the value? So why do we need BIM? So for me, that is the collaboration enabler. So it's improving the collaboration for the each team project. So basically in the BIM, one model for everyone, access to the latest information, approved design changes are always visible to all team members. Okay, so basically there's no like issue that the architect have the changing lah, but we not approve, we not receive it or something like that. So there is always that what we call it, that issue have been raised lah. Okay, but I believe by using the BIM, so all the changes can be visible to all. All right. So in the BIM, all the stakeholders from the owner, So the facility management, manager have the access of the updated or latest model. Okay. So what is the benefit from the adopting the BIM? Is number one is to reduce document errors and omission 61%. So this data are coming from the what we call it the Autodesk University. The Autodesk University, they have a team that doing the R&D, collecting data and survey. So here is the what we call it the benefit that they get from their participant. Okay, so 36% is reducing the rework. Okay, so rework, I think most of you are facing this issue. So the thing already done construct in the site, then after that you need to do the rework, and then reduce the construction cost 30%, reduce the project duration 22%, and fewer claim and litigation 70%. So reduce the project duration here, yes, this one have been basically on my side. We have a few testimonial or the of the ROI that showing that by implementing BIM, uh, their project completion are faster than the conventional one. Okay. Okay, so basically how the BIM save owner time and money throughout the building life cycle from the design, construction, and also the management. So in the design phase, so conceptual design is quickly iterate on the design element, including building form, sustainability, client requests, authority regulation, budget, and more, conduct analysis and simulation. So the example is this one in the back group create 100 relation for a church in Seoul and adjusted the shape of the building to appear curved but with a flat glass, saving over 1 million of glazing and 1,000 hours of design time. Okay, so the next one is sustainability building design. So you can do the complete energy analysis early in the design stage to reduce ongoing energy consumption. So this one, I think most of the project in the overseas lah. So like this one, NASA building. So NASA's 50,000 building in Silicon Valley yielded features such as T-frame, geothermal wells, natural ventilation, wastewater treatment, and PV roof that we provide 30% of the building powers. So this is a saving lah. And then for the design documentation is create the building model, a complete set of design document in the integrated database where anything is interconnected and there's a real-time self-coordination of the information. Okay, there's a beauty about the 3D model in BIM because what you just create a single model, then from the single model, you will combine with the other services, do the coordinations, approve the coordination, so and finalize as the coordinator model. Then after that, from the 3D model, you can extract to the 2D drawing. So it's not like 3D model is one file, 2D drawing is one file. No, basically everything in the 3D model. So I think this one have been done in the MRT line 2 for the tunnel underground team. So what they are doing is their model right now, what we call it, have been developed from the LOD 300. Right now it's LOD 400. So all the notes, all the data, all the what we call it, the past comment in the project have been incorporated in the BIM model. Okay, so there's a beauty on that. Okay, so during the construction phase, so basically for the construction is link project planning to construction planning and simulation, enhance project communication and collaboration among teams, and then create more accurate cost estimate and deliver more project on time and within budget. So to achieve this one, normally for my past experience in the project, we are encouraged that the main contractor are taking the lead. Okay, because the subcontractor or the trade contractor or the specialist one normally their awareness about BIM are very low, and then some of them also is about the restraining on the financial or what. So is what we call it is make them to what we call it ignore about the BIM implementation. Okay, so I think for the few project right now, current our project right now, we are encouraging the main contractor to take lead. For example, like for the planning, construction planning, and then collaboration. So which means that the main contractor will dictate that to the trade contractor to give their shop drawing based on the schedule, and then do the coordination every week, everything lah. And then cost estimation, normally the trade contractor will update about the costing and also the quantity, everything. And then also once the 3D model, the digital model is approved, then after that they can proceed for the installation. So from there they can save a lot, and then they can deliver on time, whatever, deliver or complete their work on time lah, basically. Okay, so this the only way to make it that to make it happen lah, the benefit. So this was the example like contractor Robin and Morton using BIM to design and construct in Main Hospital. So greater collaboration, the project was complete 10 months ahead of schedule and returned around 20 million in value added saving. So that's why the main contractor must, what we call it, take charge on this. Then after that, the benefit can be achieved. So for the fabrication and modular construction, so extract information from BIM to the prefabricated building components to improve project schedule, reduce costs, site safety, and then also reducing material waste. Okay. So this one, like the JC Canestro using BIM and prefabrication to upgrade the central utility plan for University of Malaysia, Boston, helping to minimize installation time for the new headwear system and hangers. So this one is the for the prefabrication and modular construction. So from the one of the our project also is using the IBS as the project. So basically we are collaborate with the IBS manufacturer. So what we do is on our side, we provide the 3D BIM model complete with the architecture, structure, and also the MEP. Then every panel, we also, what we call it, we mark up. So where is the location of the SSO, where is the trunking, where is the conduit we lay, something like that. So all these elements we model. So when the IBS manufacture what we call it, manufacture their panel, so they will install everything siap-siap lah dalam room. Okay. Okay, so this one for the life cycle lah. So basically life cycle, this one is normally the owner lah. The owner will take the 3D model. So they analyze the data inside the model, then use the 3D model to help manage space and perform special validation for the aspect lah. So basically, this one also they have their own tools. Okay, for example, like our office is providing like the Novate, the FM system. Okay, for the each tool here, they have their own module for the safety, for the space management, for the defect stability, everything lah. Okay, so this tool is helping lah. Is helping the what we call it the owner to fully utilize the 3D model that they have lah. Okay, so for example, like this one, Shanghai Tower construction. So the BIM not only for design and build, but also to inform operation of their super high-rise tower. So to use BIM for emergency and property management going forward. Okay. All right, so here is a BIM transformation. So the transformation is the foundational intelligent model-based process for the business and industrial transformation. So uses 3D model for capture, explore and maintain coordinated planning, design, construction, and operational data. Provide greater project insight. Use and share the same consistent data, whether you are at your desk or in the field, and then enable prompt response to change with process that are smarter and faster. So here is the transformation by using the BIM. Okay, so it's not like that before this, what we call it, the normal way lah. Then bring the hard copy to the sites, have the discussion, coordination. Then you need to put back to the office, do the amendment, and then send back to the stakeholder. So that one is the time consumption lah. So by transformation to the BIM, basically, we are enabled to what we call it to amend or mark up the model through the cloud. Okay. All right. So he also empowers the stakeholders. Number one is to improve the quality, reduce building life cycle, better understand design project from beginning to end, optimize operational efficiencies, increase occupancy and use rate. So as you can see that in the BIM, you will get transparency, efficiency, and also the quality. Okay, but I do understand that some of the stakeholders, they have their own what we call it idea or intention to what we call it to not shed everything lah. Okay. All right. So the future of the building life cycle. So basically, BIM empowers stakeholders to capitalize on the era of connection. So compare design and constructing alternative in context. So basically leverage the IoT, Internet of Things, for the ongoing operation. So basically we can incorporate any sensors to the machine with the 3D BIM model, and then use the BIM enable efficiencies and capability for the new baseline for owners. Okay, so as you can see that here, all the information, the data, okay, from the 3D model, you can slice the section, you can create, you can zoom in, you can see the element, and then you can click, you can see all the information. Okay, so that is for the BIM. So the next one is about the GIS and BIM. So this one I would like to, what we call it, to share about our collaboration with our one of the developer is S3 lah. Okay. Okay, so basically here basically is on the GIS part. So here is the BIM part. So basically, why not that we have the collaboration for these two. So basically, the AAC project, you have a prelim, detail, pre-construction, construction, documentation. And also with the GIS, they have what we call product research, revenue, master planning, and evaluation for implementing. All right. Okay, so here is connecting GIS and BIM. So normally GIS, we're using this one, what we call it as the S3 product, GIS Online or Enterprise. So for us, we're using the ACC, Autodesk Construction Cloud. So basically currently right now, they have the plugin or they have what we call it the bridge. Okay, the bridge that whatever that any model that you upgrade or you update, so they will reflect in the GIS. Okay, so here is the sample. Okay, I will show one of the sample. Okay, here is the sample of the one of the project. As you can see that on the right here is the model, the my model in the BIM 360. Okay, so basically in the BIM 360 here, basically you can measure. Okay, and then you can also pan, you can bit to see the element. Okay, then on your right here, basically is the 3D model integrate with the ArcGIS. Okay, so as you can see that, you can see all the element like topo, surface, road. So this one is the infrastructure. As you can see, all the information is there, and then the details, so the section. So from here you can study. So this one is basically the idea to get the train to underpass. Okay, so this one is the underpass for the train. Okay, so basically here the existing road. So they propose to create one of the underpass here for the trainer. Okay, so from here you can study all the site. So whatever that you update in this 3D model, so they will reflect in here in the ArcGIS. Okay, so this one is one of the sample. Okay, so this one is the one we using also this one in our MRT line too. So this one is sample of the chest solid. So as you can see that this one is the LiDAR scanning, but we also can incorporate with the 3D BIM model. So the gray one is the BIM model. And then also is the automosaic for the GIS. So this one, the whole line, the whole alignment with the automosaic. So this one, what we call it, the scanning has been done using the LiDAR. So this one, basically, automosaic for GIS, you can see that. Here is the viaduct line. Okay, so here you can see that there are SBG and also the pier lah. So this one also, they also offer the time lapse. So the time lapse, as you can see that, you can track down the progress. So like this one, just only on the April 2019. So here have the boring machine. So this one July. So August, September, as you can see that all the progress. December, January, February, March, April. So that is the what we call it the features in the GeoBeam. Okay. Okay, the other one is one of the project in Dubai. So this one basically the model is coming from the Revit. Okay. So if you can see here, so here all the trees. So for example, I click with this door. So here is the information. As you can see that here is the what you call it, the address resident Dubai full detached perch. So category is door. So family is curtain wall, family type is curtain wall glass, level is ground level, building level. Then after that you can see that okay, new construction, architecture, exterior, and then you can see also all the information here, how many class, mark, everything. Okay. Then here, okay. So basically this what we call it the IGIS platform lah. I can say that. Okay, but we incorporate with our 3D model. So I think this one is really helping on the what we call it for the architects lah, architects team, or master what we call it planners, town planner to do the project lah basically. So the interface is very light. It just need the what we call it the steady connectivity. So the interface is very light, and then the good news is this can be what we call it can be create or support. No, can be accessed either in premise or cloud. Okay, all right. Okay, so how the workflow begins is normally that here is the Revit IC Civil 3D. So basically we create the model here. So we need to go for the integrated extension, go to builder, then we go to the IGIS Pro. That's normally it. So basically we must have another plugin to push to the IGIS Pro. But currently right now we don't need because the IGIS Pro have been uh, developed and have been updated. So which means that from the Revit, from the Civil 3D can be pushed towards the IGIS Pro without using any plugin. So from here, you have the web scene, scene viewer, dashboard, Earth, and also experience builder lah. So the dashboard here basically for this product, they not limited. They have the dashboard for like the numbers of the RFIs, the number of the document pending, approval, tracking, everything. Semua they have in here in the dashboard lah. Okay, here is the what we call it another example. So on the left here, as you can see here, the building, the IGIS one. Okay, so this one, the M&E, everything, so mechanical equipment, all the information is here. This one for the cooling tower lah. Okay, they click here, the cooling tower. But on your right here is basically in the model in the Autodesk ACC, Autodesk Cloud Collaboration. So all the information you you revise, they will reflect. So yeah, basically, yeah. Okay. As you can see that the interface are very light, but need the steady quality. And the next one is, as you can see that they choose here the track, the railway. So they choose one of the track here. You have the Harsha Light Rail. So automatic here in the 2D, they will navigate here in the 2D. So here is the track that you choose. So as you can see that the collaboration or the synchronization are live lah here. Okay, they sing live. Okay, so I think that's all for the session today. So thank you very much for your time. So we look forward to working with you. So if there anything information that you require or you need further detail or you need another information, so you may call me or email me. My number is there and my email address is there. So we can set the appointment. So from there, I can attend to your office. I can, what we call it, understand your requirement. Then from there, we can help to digitalize your project lah. Okay, so I think Lisa, we
Yeah.
I think that's all from my side. So if there any if there any Q&A, you may put in the chat lah. Basically, I can try to
Yeah, do you
call
have
it
any
answer it.
questions?
Hmm. Okay,
There
so
is
Mr.
one
Asra,
question.
implementation cost roughly. Okay, to implementation the cost. Okay, the cost for the implement the BIM is normally depend on the owner. So if you the architect, so you need to bear the cost. Okay, you need to bear the cost. But currently right now we have the CIDB have the grant for the digital. So I think you can apply it. If you are medium-sized company, you can apply for the grant. So which means the CIDB will subsidize you to buy the hardware and software, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so if you normally if you have the project owner, dia cuma bear the cost for the common data environment server. Untuk beli CDE tu owner will bear the cost. But the rest, like the software, the hardware, the people, the execute is normally the consultant will bear the cost lah. But I think you can claim to the owner lah, because the owner want to implement BIM in the project. So you can quote also together your BIM services or your BIM cost, including your professional fee. Minimize the construction industry or construction part. Basically, can be done if the main contractor is dictate is taking charge for everything. So which means you as the main contractor, so you are controlling your subcon, you are controlling your trade contractor. So from there you can minimize the timeline. So which means you are the one who control. So which means that you basically normally in the project they have the MIP Master Implementation Project and also construction plan. So this both, and then you add another schedule is BIM implementation schedule. So from that BIM schedule, so normally that before, like for example, I share for the project in the Intel one that we are doing right now. Our BIM model, 3D model, digital model for the each level must be approved 3 months before the physical work begin. So you do the backward calculation, something like that. So if you need to complete your ground floor or your foundation or something like that, so you need to start earlier 3 months or 6 months to make sure that all your model is coordinated and then you can proceed for the physical work. So that's why I said the main contractor must taking charge on that. And the owner also must be support on behind you basically. But for the Mr. Asra, I think I encourage you to put also your BIM fee beside your professional fee to the owner when you bid the project. If the project have the requirement. Okay. But Mr. Asra, if you want to how you want to put in your cost later on, you can contact me lah. It's very efficient. It's efficient. It depend on the one who lead the BIM in that project. Okay, it's not, the coordination is not about that you run clash in the Navy's work. You found 2,000 of clash. You highlighting 2,000 clash. No, basically, it depend on the person who lead the BIM in that project. If that person really competent, they are competent. So your coordination is quite efficient, basically. Okay, right. Mr. Nas, I believe that if you are background, you are the what we call it, the project manager or you are project coordinator. When you see the digital model, you can identify issue or problem very fast. Okay. The problem is there's a fresh graduate who leading the project implementation, and that's why there's a problem. So that's why the BIM coordinator require the experience. I think minimum is what we call it 5 to 6 years. Yes, you need the coordinator for the BIM. You need the coordinator and manager for the BIM. But if you can take that role, you can take over, no problem. Because some of the project, the project coordinator also they are project BIM coordinator. Okay, as long you know how to using the Navy's work, you can run that position, no problem. The BIM modeler will, you found the issue, the BIM modeler will rectify the model for you. Basically, you found the issue, the BIM modeler will rectify the model for you. You don't need to, you just highlighting all the issues, basically. And also, if you have the issues, you have the solution, you just throw back to the modeler, they will amend the model. So they will be clash free, basically. Since architect is the SO, I recommend is strongly three people. One is the BIM manager, one is the BIM coordinator, one is the BIM modeler. But I think the BIM manager can take role as the BIM coordinator, so the person is enough. Or you want to shrink more over, one person only. BIM manager, BIM coordinator, BIM modeler, that one person. He run the entire project. But for me, it's better minimum two lah. One is the coordinator, one is the modeler lah. Okay. So the architect, like you, the architect, so you can take role as the manager lah. Okay. So I think demand for BIM right now, I think quite high. Quite high. I think I can say that as many projects right now is implement BIM, basically. If you go for the Tropicana project, I think last month I prepared the BIM proposal. So which BIM proposal for the Tropicana project is 3 or 4 last month. Then after that, Gamuda is fully BIM. Then right now Sandabi, even the new project at the Kota Semarak, I think the Tabung Haji MRCB one also, they implement BIM on that. So it's for the housing one, like for example, for me that the landed housing, if you don't have BIM, it's okay. But for the high rise, especially the Econlay project, like the Econlay lah, Econlay, Wawa 8, something like that. The project that complicated, I'm encouraged to using BIM lah, basically. Even not the big development, I think if you as an architect also, you can propose to your customer lah, basically. Can, no problem. Because some of the developer, they not seeing the value of the BIM, basically. Most of that lah. Okay, because if they're talking about the fee, if for example like us as the BIM consultant, the fee is I think 0.05 or 0.01%, something like that. The fee is very small one. BIM coordinator, the scope work, the first one is they need to assist the BIM manager. That's number one. BIM coordinator normally they need to assist the BIM manager. Number one is they need to make sure they need to monitor the team. They need to prepare the clash analysis. They need to prepare the project template, the 3D model, everything template semua dia kena prepare. they need to run QC, they need to prepare the 4D simulation, and also they need also to checking all the drawing, the extract for the model. So basically, BIM coordinator is quite busy punya job scope lah basically. Uh, kalau buat clash report dia, tu salah lah tu. Dia banyak kerja sebenarnya, BIM coordinator.
There any more questions? If there is no questions, we can end this webinar session here. Okay, there is a last question, I think.
Okay, how is the site coordinator and BIM team collaborate as we know the coordinator as well is doing coordination? Okay, so that's what I mentioned earlier. Okay, so to avoid this thing, so basically this one I understand that you want to what we call it to speed up your progress. Okay, I do understand. That's why it's standard. Any project they will push the BIM. Oh, this one you complete in 1 week, because we want to push everything on the other on the second week. That's a normal. So normally, what I mentioned earlier that you need to approve your digital approve and coordinated digital model 3 month or 1 month before the what we call it the physical work is start. So that's the best way. Uh, yes, because this one. So what you can do is you need to appoint the full-time BIM coordinator. So which means that the BIM coordinator need daily to go on site with the site coordinator and make sure that uh, the physical installation are what we call it exactly same like the 3D model. So if not, basically the BIM coordinator need to mark up and update the 3D model directly there. So that's why the BIM coordinator is very busy guy because they need to go daily to the site. Okay. But I think try to avoid it. Try to avoid it. Try to planning. So for example, if you want to go for the one zone, so you make it 2 weeks before your zone A to start work, you need to zone A digital model to complete first. You do like that. So if not, cannot, basically your BIM coordinator need to go to site daily, basically. But try to avoid it. Mr. Nas?
I think that's the last question. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you, Mr. Hafiz, for the wonderful sharing. I hope this online webinar has been useful on how important of using BIM in the construction industry. Once again, thank you for all the participants who have joined this online webinar. I will be sending a link on the feedbacks of today's webinar sessions. So we hope that you will fill up this webinar, this feedback form. So thanks again. And if you wanted to join our upcoming webinar, where will be project management on the cloud, I will sending the registration forms over here as well. It is the online webinar will take part tomorrow morning 10 o'clock. You can join as well. So thank you for all the participants and have a nice day.